This is Power 98.7. And now you're listening to Power Talk with Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, 9 a.m. to midday, taking your calls on 0861 987 000.
Welcome back, Bantwana Benkosi, Bantwana Bahle, Bantwana Begazi. We are here with the MEC of education in this country. Jesus, a very disruptive question just came to my mind. But let me greet first. How are you, Chief?
Thank you. Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning to your listeners.
And thanks for creating time, particularly coming into studio. It's very difficult in Gauteng at the moment. I know the Premier is shifting people around. Was anybody from your department shifted?
Yeah. Currently, I've got two portfolios, the education portfolio as well as the sports, arts, culture and recreation portfolio. So both my HODs were shifted around.
What was the issue?
Obviously to strengthen other departments because it took the education one to go and assist in infrastructure development because there were a bit of challenges, hoping that because it's from this side, it can go to infrastructure and begin to prioritize and push education projects.
So you are without an HOD as we speak?
Yes, I've got an acting HOD.
Or acting HOD?
Yeah, in both departments, yes.
Is the acting HOD from somewhere?
No, the acting HOD was a deputy director general.
In education?
In the department.
Okay.
He's been in the education department for over 30 years, 35 years now.
I've always been curious. I mean, this is the same as the Premier. How do you comrades decide? Because where I'm sitting, education is a specialization. And with your elaborate qualifications, you have never presided over a classroom, a school. You've never prepared an exam. How are you presiding over teachers?
Yeah, well,
without this huge experience, which is an everyday experience at the school. I know you have taken an exam. I mean, that's why you are highly educated. But I've always wondered, if you've never been a teacher, a principal, if you've never said and wrote an education policy, you've never debated different pedagogical approaches to different, circumstances, that you can teach these people in this way because they come from this environment. And then how do you even prepare the teachers?
Well, fortunately for me, I was a portfolio chair.
In the legislature.
In the legislature. And prior to that, I was a member of the portfolio committee. So I came with a bit of experience in terms of the portfolio itself. Yeah. But more importantly is that you have to read more.
You have to work extra hard.
Yes, of course. And get the right people around you to support you.
Yeah, no. Let's get right into it. And I think the first serious problem with Gauteng schools, it's possibly a South African problem, is the infrastructure backlog. And I read that, and you will please confirm this for us, but the extent to which so many schools were given a lot of money that goes into billions of rands, and so many schooling projects have not been completed. There is a problem of contractors on the one hand who are not performing well, and then there is the usual problems of construction mafia that are interfering and so on and so forth. What is your plan to circumvent all of this? I mean, what are you going to do differently to make sure that if a person is given 150 million rands to build a school by 3 years, in 3 years' time, that we get it on time for the kids and the teachers to get access to the facility?
Yeah, we're taking a different approach in the department because we've realized that our sister implementing department was taking long, of which I think you'll then have an opportunity to bring in the executive authority of that particular department as to why some projects have not been completed.
And this is
DID. Which is like
Department
public
of
infrastructure development.
And development, okay, yes.
Yes, public works, if you want, if you like. So we then changed the modeling of delivery for infrastructure. The first one is that we decided to go and find other implementing agents, such as DBSA, etc., to then give them projects. And I must say, in this regard, DBSA has outperformed our own internal infrastructure development. But now there are some changes in improvement.
What is DBSA?
Development Bank of South Africa, DBSA.
Okay, Development Bank.
Yes. It is implementing. So what they've done quite well. I mean, I've given them around about 8 schools. And where I'm sitting now, 7 of those schools, I should be getting them by the first opening of the academic year. I would have about 4 to 5 schools. And maybe by the end of the first term, I would have the rest of the schools.
When you say opening of this term?
Academic year.
Okay.
Next year.
Next year.
Yes.
The entire full year. All right. Yeah.
Yes. So they've done well. Okay. And second, what we've done also, we then saw that we need to create classrooms, additional classroom space. So we've given schools money, which we call self-build, where they build additional classrooms for themselves. So we give them a certain amount of money, they build classroom, they make those classroom compliant. And the purpose of it, beyond building those classrooms, is also to give that local economic development perspective, support, that they can find a local contractor, local consultant to
because
work.
It's just a few classrooms.
Yeah, it's just 5 or 6. And schools did perform. There are those didn't perform, but majority did perform because we got close to almost 2,000 classrooms, classrooms out of that particular project alone. And obviously then the provision of mobiles, which I must announce. Mobiles, I don't like mobiles, but they are a quicker way to create classroom space because of the pressures that we find ourselves as a province. So those are the alternative models that we have undertaken to ensure that we improve the infrastructure or at least create classroom space. The challenge is because if you put mobiles and you create all this additional classroom, kids will have nowhere to play. As you know, especially in our former township schools, they don't have much space as other historically what we call Model C schools, where the cricket field, rugby field. So they've got more space where they can even build more classrooms. Others were more congested, space was limited, they just put infrastructure. No, actually any space for sporting activity. So there, sometimes those schools tend to struggle with space, but then obviously we'll then have to, what to then do in such a case, then we're also looking to set up satellite schools because of that, to alleviate the pressure as well at the same time.
Do you have a problem? I mean, I'm imagining initially that there was, because of the new legislation to integrate early childhood development, obviously that presents an immediate problem of overcrowding and all of that. Is overcrowding articulated at all levels, from, say, grade 1 to grade 12? Or is it a problem of this decision to integrate early childhood development into the main curriculum?
The overcrowding needs to be understood in this fashion. If you go to our schools, when we place learners, we look at classroom space, meaning that classrooms must be compliant, the number of learners must be compliant with the ratio. And we do that. So in primary school, 1 to 35 and 1 to 40 in high school. So if we go and look at overall picture in our schools, you check the number of learners, you check the number of educators. We do comply that. The issue comes to subject choices. You find that you go to a school, there are more Zulu learners for home language than Pedi speaking in a school. So you might be short of Zulu teachers. Then what that will then mean that you bring in more learners into that classroom.
How does that happen if an admission criterion is properly managed? How do you not know that you exist in a neighborhood that is predominantly Zulu speaking, because that information should be available on the basis of the profile of that community? How do you not know your pool because subject choices, as far as I understand, are mainly from, say, high school. Okay, maybe a different example could be science, that more kids choose physics. That example works, but language, you can't have overloading on language.
Actually, we do. You can. I mean, those are subject specialists. You can.
Okay.
But however, I was just giving the language as an example. But more importantly is our system's growth is it's a moving target and it's a rapid. Research tells us that we are going to grow to the size of a Free State, current Free State, in the next 3 to 4 years. Because on average, our system grows to about 70,000 learners, new learners.
You mean Free State province?
Yes, Free State province.
Okay,
Now,
let me see. Just explain that for us. What is to grow to the size? Is Free State as a province having more learners at the moment than Gauteng? What are you saying?
No, I'm saying Free State learners are sitting at around, I don't have the actual figure, but around 350 to 400,000. It's not a big system.
Yes.
We are sitting at a system of about 2.8 million. So we are anticipating that we'll have another 200,000 to 300,000 extra learners from the current 2.8 million.
Oh.
So we'll be sitting at around 3.2.
You'll be, essentially you're adding another province.
Into Gauteng.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what there is. That's what we get. Because for instance, this year we've had an increase of around 130,000 learners that just came. And on the first day, where you always see the callers are calling and saying, no, but there's just...
How does this happen? I'm trying to make sense. This is education. There's so much expertise in the department. There should be people who can make a variation, a measurement. The number of births in Gauteng. In 5 years, we're more likely to have these number of people. Measure that vis-a-vis, migration. There must be patterns of migration, patterns of birth, more or less over the years. That gives you an expectation of your growth. Is that not, is planning not articulated at that level? That's not true, fella. You get shocked as if these numbers are not on your fingertips.
Actually, it's like that. It's quite difficult because remember, if you the first day, you get 25,000 kids on your doorstep that you didn't know that they're coming. They might be in other provinces, they might be in other areas across. And that's what we experience every year. We do anticipate that we'll have this, but it's difficult to really say, I'm planning that I'm going to have 130,000 new kids into the system. Because sometimes it fluctuates. It can be 20, 40,000 less. Sometimes it goes up. So it's quite difficult. But also the demographics of Gauteng are very cosmo. Those periods, of saying this township, moge machanganing, moge basotho, moge ifedile. People are living anywhere. And so also the planning for languages is quite difficult.
And this would be at grade 1.
At grade 1.
Okay.
Yes, grade. The first day is for across, from grade 1 to grade 12.
Yeah.
That kids, and also remember, because of the economic opportunities that people strive for, being a province of migrants, once they get a job, bayagai, baja msadi, ojabana, or ketukumane mereko, koshoma, italito nale nagamu. And also the prospects of us providing better quality education as opposed to other areas. I'm not saying we are, but
makes sense.
Things speak for themselves. That we're actually doing quite well.
But that problem, would you agree, it can't occur at high school levels? But the high schools should have more stability because the feeders, maybe 80% of the time, would be the already existing primary schools. So you can't quite have a dramatic problem of expectation of the numbers that are coming to enroll for grade 8? Or is it also as disorganized as grade 1?
Let me tell you, Statistics in General will tell you, Gauteng people don't produce babies, don't give birth. Our birth rate is far lower to our other provinces like Limpopo, Eastern Cape, KZN. So kids at younger age, they might spend time at those schools in those provinces. But once they get to high school, parents deliberately move them.
So your numbers show that you've got huge enrollments even at grade 8.
That's where high school is where we get the biggest enrollment as opposed to primary. Even if you look at our online admission now, we've got more learners registered for high school, than they are for grade 1. And that's because of that, what I'm explaining. That.
But if it has happened for many, many years, there must be a pattern already which allows you to draw some form of prediction model.
Yes.
So that you are able to plan resources, classrooms, teachers, and all of that. It is this model of prediction that I'm inquiring that shouldn't you be anticipating the problem as a form of solution, then that allows you to be prepared?
No, we do have. We know. We know what to expect. I mean, of course, every year after the 10 days, when we've counted the number of learners and we know there's the number of learners we have, we do a comparative data compared to the previous years. Are we growing? Where are we growing? Where's the pressure areas? Actually, where do we need to plan? Where do we need to increase classroom spaces? You know, where do we need to invest more? We do have that, but it's difficult. We do prepare, but I can tell you, because this is a runaway target. It's a moving target. It always catches us
off guard.
Yes.
All right, that's fine. I know we don't have time, but Ndana Benkosi, if you've just joined, we are with the MEC of Education here in Gauteng. If you want to join the conversation or interact with him, 0861987000 is our studio line. 2 kinds of special schools, and I heard the Premier making a big announcement about specializing schools, or you call them specialized schools, which say that every school must have something it is good at. I am a Gauteng citizen. I don't know about you, Matome, but I was educated all my life here. My school was an art school. It had an actual music class and an art class. That's the point the Premier is making. But I'd like you to take us about different form of specializations related to special needs. A lot of parents don't find joy with regards to admissions for children dealing with autism. Is this going to be different next year? Is there a plan for autistic children across the province that they find facilities, they find admissions, they find space? Most of them don't.
No, we do have a plan, and I think we've since in the past 20 years we've also increased the number of schools, special schools in our province. Not only that, we increased even the capacity of our schools in terms of placement, infrastructure capacity. The biggest challenge that we always have with our schools is the specialized educators, which is an issue that maybe some of the parents would have identified. And that's because we're competing with private sector for those specialized educators. They come into the system, we train them, they work, they get experience, then they get better offers, then they leave the public system. And that's where we've been having the biggest challenge. And that's why you can't admit, if you don't have any educator to specialize it, to actually work with these learners
with special needs.
Yeah, so that's where it's always been a balancing act. But it is something that is high on our agenda as a department, that first of all we need to build more schools. I know there are some schools that we have, it's urgent, it's immediate. There's one called Mbuyiseni. It's immediate. We are working around the clock to really get them a new facility. But these are specialized schools. It's not like an ordinary school where you can just close it and take learners and spread them across. You have to get the infrastructure ready. You have to get the right people at the school. You have to get all the resources that are required for that particular. So it is a challenge that we are experiencing. But what I can guarantee parents is that we are moving much more at a faster pace in placing learners than we have ever done in the past.
Yeah.
The waiting period.
Talk to us about that. Yeah.
The waiting period was.
This is the online admissions process.
No, yeah, but I'm saying for specials,
for
kids with special educational needs, that in the past they used to wait much longer. We know which we have a huge backlog. I think by now we've more than halved it. The waiting period is far less. It used to be sometimes more than a year, sometimes So now you know that within the next 3 to 6 months you should have been getting any update as to where is your child going. But in some instances, we also look at the form of impact. That is it heavy, or not? Then we can place them at a full service school, and then in the meantime, so that they can and they do get support there. But then we move them to a specialized school.
Mechanisms for detecting, because something like autism is not a visible physical phenomena. The kids get in the normal process, experience challenges. Teachers don't know most of the time how to detect. Are there any rigorous processes to improve teachers' ability at a face level to say, I think I'm dealing with a child with OCD, I'm dealing with an autistic child, and the different spectrums thereof?
When nationally they decided to move ECD to us, I think that was the first critical step, because then it allows us ourselves as a department to even identify these learners quite early at a very young age. And then from there you'd know in the ECD that no, this one must go to needs this type of support, needs OT, needs this one, needs this speech therapy, etc. This child needs to go to this type of school. This one can go to the mainstream public ordinary school. So that really helped us, because now in the past, obviously, parents will come forward, but we didn't have a direct, control or linkage where we could pick up these kids at a much earlier, coherent, and also support-wise. Because now we know that within our ECD directorate, they would have all this data of all our kids being assessed at that level, so that it allows us to also prepare for by the time they have to go to school. Then we know the
where
place
to place them.
Yes,
and also prepare the teachers.
Yes.
Okay, it's 10:30. Bantwana Benkosi, as I said, we're with the MEC of Education here in Gauteng, Ntate Matome Chiloane. We are going to be continuing to talk to him. If you want to ask him any question, 0861987000 is our studio line. Let's take the headlines with Nyaka Lotefu. Stay tuned.
Stay informed. Power Talk with Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, 9 a.m. to midday on Power 98.7.
We are still with the MEC of Education here in Gauteng, Bantwana Benkosi. Just before we take your calls, I'd like the MEC to address one or two things, and I see that the lines are going mad. The people of South Africa care for education. So, SOS, School of Specialization, and there is this idea around, well, not idea, the big announcement on the private jet that's going to Kempton Park. Hopefully they don't do to it what they're doing to the rest of the school infrastructure. But School of Specializations, can you address us about that?
Yeah, thank you again. We have 36 that we have launched, and they have 5 disciplines, which is math, science, ICT, engineering, commerce and entrepreneurship, performing and creative arts, sports, and we've got one for technical occupation and multidisciplinary school. So
sports is performing arts.
No, the sports.
Oh, sports is separate.
Like Khanyale said in Heidelberg and Rosina Sidiban in.
Jesus, how does an admission work there? Can you tell me about that? If I'm a if I want to do soccer, does it work like a school of excellence?
Yes, it should work like that. These are the only schools that have where admission, there is an admission requirement. Where, for example, math, science, and ICT, they have to write an admission test. Performing arts, they have to do also some performing activity to see that they have a certain set of talent to come into the school. That is the purpose of schools of specialization, as opposed to mainstream school where parents can just apply to any. But once they apply for SOS, they must know that their children will be tested.
And these high schools?
Yes.
So a teacher in a primary school is able to know this child has this talent, and are they able to make an advance to say go or write to a specialized school to say I've got a brilliant kid here in mathematics, I think you should admit? Is that also not a recommended mode of admission?
Yes, but they still have to do an admission test.
Exam, okay.
Yes. Because these ones don't work around the feeder zone alone. They work across. A parent from anywhere within the province can apply their child there, and their kid, then they will have to write that particular admission test. And these are our Ivy schools that we have built in the new dispensation.
Ivy League.
Yes, in terms of performance, because we invest more to them, we've put more improved infrastructure to them. So we expect only at least the best there to be at those particular schools in terms of the traits as outlined here. Okay.
And then my final question before we take in the callers, I'm very cognizant of time. Violence. Seemingly, schools like prisons are beginning to be breeding grounds for gangsterism. That is where a lot of youth experiment or come in contact with substance abuse. And it seems to be dramatically now putting the safety of the actual teachers at risk as well. What are you going to do? You've been an MEC for a while, but how is this situation going to be arrested once and for all?
Yeah, this is quite complex. So the best way to understand it is that the school is a microcosm of its community. It would always reflect the community that it finds itself at. And hence you'll say breeding ground for gangsterism. There are schools that we're able to pick up that it's a turf war, a drug turf war, but we're able to control it, nip it in the bud quickly, and so that we stabilize the school. So we have found that. And it's informed largely by the community that the school finds itself. So in most cases, when we classify the school, we look at that very importantly. Where is the school? Is it in El Dorado Park? Is it in Katleong? Is it in Soshanguve? What is the situation? Is it in Jugu Lane? We look at that particular. And in most cases, when we find some of those schools, they are really affected by what's happening outside school.
So what do you do to make sure that in the premises during learning hours, there is no articulation of crime, violence, and destruction?
We've nationally, there's been a memorandum of understanding between police and DBE. So what we have requested here in Gauteng, the first thing we did have imbizos across our 5 corridors, where we brought in parents, community stakeholders, particularly from those schools that were identified as high risk. We identified 245 of them in our province. And these schools that are at risk.
245?
Yes. Now, red, we were sitting at 75. The number fluctuates. Some come in, some go out. The red will look at the level of discipline in the school, vandalism in the school, if there's a burglar in the school, if there's been identification of gangsterism. And a gangster is not necessarily fast guns in El Dorado Park as they would speak about it. No, gangster is also a group of boys or children learners who group themselves and really cause problems.
And bully
other kids. We also identify those as gangs. We look at that as well. So and also general substances that have been found. Then we focus on the school. We intervene by we did put in private security. We had to put it out because of budgetary constraints. So, but the police, we've done an agreement with the SAPS that the 75 schools, there needs to be police visibility, van in the morning when they come in, van after school. So that even its visibility, it can deter a lot, because these children, they don't necessarily always fight in school. They don't fight in school. After school is where chaos erupts. And it erupts immediately just outside the gate. We've lost quite a number of learners who have lost their lives just outside the school gate. So as part of to deter that, we said, no, let there be vans. We've deployed patrollers. The premiers, wardens have also been deployed. We've done random search and seizures across. And we find some dangerous weapons. But generally, some schools improve when they see that there's a lot of focus on the school in terms of security. And so it then goes down, the school stabilizes, but also the management of the school as well. We also support it.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a few calls. Bandana Benkosi, one person, one question. Banbaningi. And 30 seconds at most. Please be ready to pose your question with the greatest clarity. Hello, Philemon. Welcome to Power Talk Shoot.
Yes, hi, Doc.
Just hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. You may proceed. Yes.
Yes, Doc.
Yes. Thank you.
Ke mo social ne. So ke batla go botsa MEC hore ke dikolo tse kae tse ba di ahang currently mo social nguve. And then ke tse kae tse ba di ahang ka stena, ke tse kae tse ba di ahang tse ba ira mikhukhu. A ska bolela ka di mobile le di satellite a re tlhaloganyo lo tse.
Go na le dikolo tse ahwang ka masenge go social nguve.
Go na le a ke ba re ke di mobile ke mikhukhu.
Okay.
So MEC a tlhalose hore ke tse kae tse leng ba aha ka stena, ke tse kae tse leng ba di aha ka mikhukhu eo.
All right, thank you.
And then ya bofelo. Okay, le mabitso a dikolo tse hore khona o itse hore ke tse kae tse ba di ahang, then ke mabitso a tsona. That's it, please.
All right, thank you, Philemon.
Thank you.
That's Philemon. Hello, girlie.
Hi, Dr. Njani.
Ngiyaphi njani sisi?
Ukhona. Doctor, my question to the MEC is, there's a school in Hammanskraal, particularly for Yesterdays. So this school, almost 2 weeks now, because of infrastructure, like the sewer is out there, there's like, it's chaos, it hasn't been...
Do you know the name of the school, girlie?
It's Mato Primary School in New Yesterdays.
Okay.
Does he have information regarding that school? Because all the channels have been followed, but there hasn't been feedback. That school stayed almost 8 months without electricity.
8 months.
It was recently resolved by parents who stood up. It seems like his department is not interested in fixing issues of that particular school.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kelly. He seems to know about it. We'll hear. Hello, Shadi.
Hi, Doctor and MEC.
Yes, Mama.
Mine is, I just want to ask the Premier. He has been to our township in Mansfield in Krugersdorp, where we have 2 schools that do not have principals. These principals are reporting a district and is leaving a leadership vacuum in the schools. So they have been investigating these 2 principals for the last 2 years. And the MEC was promised that the HEB will be giving the report by the director. He hasn't done it to date. So these schools are leaderless. Two classes were banned last week because there was no supervision. It's overcrowded. And the infrastructure that he's talking about, there are learners studying in 7 classes that are non-compliant. They were not built according to the bill. The plans were not approved.
You know the name of the schools, Shadi?
Tutolifa, and the other one is Mansfield Primary.
Okay.
And MEC aware of it, and he knows me by the name of Lesego.
All right. Thank you, Shadi. Ausimpo?
Similarly, guys.
Re
First of all, it's a comment quick. It's funny for me how women are the ones calling when it's educational issues in majority. That tells you a lot about who fixes our nation. But coming back to the point, there's 2 questions. I'm into sports, and we're really realizing an incline in the talent pool that's coming from Black South Africans is mostly foreigners. So how are they balancing the school registration, especially in a formal multiracial schools in the former suburbs? Because majority of those kids that are going in there are not South Africans. Who's checking on the birth certificates and whether or not they're legit or not? Because we're going to end up having a national team of only foreign nationals. That's number one. Number two, who's checking up on the schools that are not performing well for several years now, that only focus on matriculants like Dinwiddie High School, which has been doing dismally on all other grades, and we've reported it several times. But who's checking up on that?
Can you repeat the name? Please repeat the name of that example. Come again?
Dinwiddie High School. Dinwiddie High School.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Paul. Final one. Malax, welcome to Power Talk.
Good morning, Ndlozi. Good morning to the MEC.
Yes, sir.
Maybe let me start by complimenting quickly. One, the Department of Education is doing well. I've seen a plane that was donated by one of the aviation companies, which is work that needs to be commended. But I just want to say to the MEC, can the pilot project also come to the site of Western, Merafong in particular? Gauteng does not only consist of Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, and Joburg. Lerona, we do exist, so they must bring some of these programs. BELA High School used to be a technical college. Can the MEC look into reviving that school? It used to be a technical college. Lastly, I had 4 questions, but I think let me stick to 2 because of time. And because when I take a lot of our time. The online program, is it possible?
I'm in charge here, Chief. If you want to provoke me, you're not going to succeed. Ask your questions. Huh?
The online program, MEC, is it possible to drop the online program? That thing is just not, it has its own problems. Let me tell you, one of the problems that we have is that illegal migrants uses this to get space, and our own people do not get space in our own schools. And I think it is a problem.
Okay, thank you.
If you walk in, I think it will make it much easier because schools will be able to identify if these people are using authentic documents in order to enroll their kids. They use fake asylum seekers documents, and the department is unable to pick up all those things. So I just wanted to pause there.
By the way, Malax, out of all the callers that called, you got 2 minutes, okay? Stop complaining. Thank you. MEC?
That's quite comprehensive.
Yes.
Should I continue with this?
Yeah, you can wear it. You can proceed, but please attack.
Okay. I just quickly wanted to check the number of. I'll come back to Philemon with the number of schools and names. Philemon is starting to worry me. Why interested in names, where they are? Philemon, good Collins. Because we're working around the clock to. There's a number of schools that side that we are building. I was just trying to find the names, but it doesn't matter. A mobile is.
I think it's a legitimate question to say, for what reason are you looking for the names? Whereas maybe the concern is, are you going to finish them, and then which ones are you using Zozos?
Yes, no, look, that's what I want to say to respond quickly to Philemon because of time, is that mobile schools are temporary. It's not a permanent feature. It's not supposed to be permanent. When we create them, for example, the one we're creating now in is it Acacia? Not Acacia area, in Tshwane North, Pretoria North. We're not creating that school as a permanent structure. We're creating it for the railway. They call it the railway. Yes, I was looking for that name because there are a lot of schools. There are more than 2,300 schools that I must know from the top of my head. When you create this infrastructure, it's temporarily to elevate the pressure because of the growing community in the area, because the number of children are there. So we have to create schools nearby to where parents live. So in terms of informal schools, there are not many in Tshwane area, especially in Soshanguve, because we're building a lot of schools there. I'm anticipating to have about 3 schools that are going to be coming up in the next academic year. most of them are almost done. They're sitting at 80%, 70%, 90%. So those schools should be done. And we're stopping in that area because we'd have built enough. Because in that, what in Tshwane, there's also a movement of population. They're moving in certain areas, they're going somewhere else. And then when they get there, they demand school, and yet they've moved. There's an infrastructure. There is a school that we once closed that we're also trying to open, but we've got the illegals, people who have occupied it. So we're still dealing with the legal issues on removing them. So that's around Soshanguve. Yes, Teras, I'm aware of that school. We've been working closely with the parents. We have done a commitment that we will fix whatever maintenance that we can do internally. But most of the issues are not us. For example, if there's a sewer that's going outside the school, it's not as the municipality. So it makes it very difficult for us to commit that we must build, we're going to fix that pipe. It's not our responsibility. I've had a situation where in Olivenhout, where parents are saying, the municipality rather says to us, build us a reservoir. And I said, but it's not our job. We don't even have the scope, we don't even have the budget to build your reservoir so that you can provide water to our school and the community. We've had a situation where municipalities are saying, build us this electrical boxes, danger boxes. I said, no, but we can't. It's not us. It's not our responsibility. The transformers, it's not our responsibility. Our responsibility is within the confines of the school. So we do have those particular schools where are affected not by us, not by our own doing, but because of the lack of services that in those particular municipalities. There's one that they've closed because of a wetland, and where the municipality must come and do some geographic work there to remove or at least redirect the water underground. They have not done it. It affected our school. And now parents are coming to us and say, it's you. It's not us. It's the municipality. So in most cases, our biggest problem, including admission, it's municipalities that are giving us problem. Because Baldwin builds townhouses everywhere, but doesn't build schools, or doesn't even give us the land for that. So municipalities are at the center of educational problems in our province. I know about the school of Tutolefa, where they've banned learners. It's learners who have banned, and we've suspended them. There are about six of them, which is a criminal act. Leave the issue of saying there's no principal. There is a disciplinary process that's been undertaken around that, and we need to go according to process, because we're dealing with rights of people at the same time. So the parent must understand that aspect. What is important is that administrator, the people who have put there to oversee the work of the leadership of the school. Doesn't mean if there's no proper principal, the school can't function. There is an acting principal. There's an administrator that we deploy that should oversee the running of the school. Oh yeah, now here's the response of around the schools in Tshwane. It's Simpato, Soshanguve South, and Extension 7, and we've got 4 mobile schools that. But around that, it's because of ill discipline of learners. In fact, what we have done, those learners are even got arrested because they banned the school in Manseville. Sports ground. This year, what I've said to schools, I've said every child must do some form of extra curricular activity. Every child. And at the end of the year, within the report, the school must write if the child participated or not. Whether it's drama, whether it's any sports activity, whether it's singing, whether it's debating, but every child must be given an opportunity to do some form of extra curricular activity program. And this is what I've told to all schools, that it's a must. It's a non-negotiable. Yes, COVID came, COVID left. We had to start slow, but now we're long past that period. Kids must start doing some extracurricular activity. As for foreign nationals in our schools, we've been asked this question many a times. And I can tell you now, statistically, in Gauteng, foreigners don't account for more than 7% of our learner population. 7%. Yes,
but the claim is that the ones you are not able to detect is because they are using false documents. Is the system able to detect a false asylum document?
Yes, because the admission system works directly with Home Affairs. When you register your name, I'm sure the parents that have gone on the system, you put your ID, it gives us your name. It's because it's Home Affairs that's giving us your name. If you put your passport, it's Home Affairs who's going to give us the data.
So is it possible that Home Affairs could have offered false documents?
I don't know. That's them. I mean, the minister and the deputy minister, they speak for themselves. But from our side, our system is directly linked with Home Affairs in real time. So we will not register.
But what is wrong with admitting? Are you able to say there is overcrowding and there's a percentage of South Africans that are unable to get access to education, and therefore there's this problem of 7% that is taking their places? Maybe I think that's the angle you want to address.
I wouldn't say that they're taking their place. Remember, we have a duty. It's a constitutional obligation to ensure that every child of school-going age has access to school. So that is
in a sense, there's nobody who can say, my child did not get space, is at home, and you have given that space to a foreigner.
Yes. You know, I would say that. I'll say to the parent, in that case, the parents want certain schools. And if the school is oversubscribed, there's not really much we can do for that particular school that you want. But we have a duty to make sure that we place your child in the reasonable feeder area so that your child has access to school. And that's what we've always committed to parents, that you bring your child. If your child stays in this area and you want the school in this area, we have no choice. But constitutionally, we are obliged to place your child in a school in the area.
Please address the 2 schools without principals that Mama spoke about, where the principals have been in investigation for 2 years.
So the issue of those principals, what we do, we found there was an issue in the school which the parents themselves raised against the principal. I will not speak about detail because there's an ongoing investigation and disciplinary process. In that case, we then pulled the principal out with an intention to stabilize the school. You understand? So that's why the principal, and it's not even the one school. There are a number of schools where we've pulled educators.
But for 2 years.
No, that one can be checked, can be verified. I doubt it's 2 years. You know?
And what happens in the absence? Is there somebody, because they say then there's a leadership vacuum?
As I've said earlier, we place an administrator, we have acting principals, we have deputies that can come in and act. There's never, nature doesn't allow space. So once there's no principal, we put an acting principal. We put somebody to oversee the running of the school. And there are a number of reasons why we do that, whether the school is not performing, whether the state and condition of the school. So
West Rand, they feel neglected, that everything that gets announced, and every time Panyaza somewhere, it's in the cities. Yeah? They are part of the province. You heard it.
No, we do have SOSs in the West Rand.
Okay.
In fact, they largely focus on mining. The issue of BELA Tech, it's a beautiful infrastructure school. But the community has let the school go. Zamas are running as a mock. The mine donated us a generator worth 2 million. Do you know a 2 million rand generator, how big it is? Maybe it's the size of this studio, even bigger. It disappeared. Yeah, it disappeared. Now, if you tell me, are you saying no one in the community saw a truck carrying a generator of 2 million? That school, we work around the clock. We put in generators because Zamas have cut the electricity. We put generators, they steal them. We put fence, they steal it.
And the community doesn't say who is it.
No, they don't. They will never tell you. That's where the problem is. Actually, if there's anything, I'm saying it now, I wanted to close Wedela High because I really felt that our kids have been robbed there because of the community is not helping. There is a school nearby that I really like. It's good infrastructure. We can just pass them there.
I don't know, MEC, if we can let go of you on a note of saying you are not going to get involved. I think the police need to get those gangsters and cap them because maybe the community is scared. And I mean, that's just the practical matter with dangerous communities like that. You can say throw it to the community.
No, just help us to find these people. I mean, that's all we're asking. But however, the school is good infrastructure. The mine invested. It's one of those schools that if you can go to, you'll cry if you look at the infrastructure. But we're not losing hope. We're investing. We're trying to fix it. But they need to work with us. We fix something, it disappeared after 2 weeks. We put new taps, it disappeared.
It's 1100 Bantwana Benkosi. Unfortunately, it's never enough. And the MEC is right here in Johannesburg. I'm sure you'll make another visit before the end of the year. But thanks very much for creating time. And I can only wish you the best. This is the toughest, or one of the toughest portfolios around. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's take the news, Bantwana Benkosi, with Nyakalo Tefu.